Good evening, listeners, and welcome to our historical broadcast. Today we are traveling back more than 2,400 years to the 5th century BC to explore how two cities that were only a few days apart became complete opposites in the ancient world, Athens and Sparta. Imagine that you are a traveler visiting ancient Greece. You decide to visit Athens first and then Sparta. At first, it might seem like these cities should be as similar. After all, they spoke the same language, shared the same gods, and lived in the same region. But the truth is very different. The moment you arrive, you will realize that these two cities seem to live on completely different planets.
Let's begin our journey in Athens. As soon as you enter the city, the first thing you notice is the noise. The streets are full of people talking, debating, and exchanging ideas. In the Agora, the central plaza, citizens gather not only to buy olives, fabric, and pottery, but also to discuss policy and argue about the future of their cities. Athens was the birthplace of democracy, a revolutionary idea of its time. In this system, citizens could participate in government and vote in assembly and in house superring. This was a breaking a sailor, and notably a having vote when deciding for the city.
As you walk through Athens, you will also notice its impressive architecture. Beautiful white marble temples rise above the city, especially the famous Parthenon located on the hill known as the Acropolis of Athens. Athens was also a city that loved trade and wealth because it had access to the sea. Its ships traveled across the Mediterranean bringing silk, spices, and many other goods. Along with these goods came new ideas, making Athens a center of culture and knowledge. For Athenians, the perfect life was about balance. Young men went to school where they learned music, poetry, and athletics. They studied the works of the famous poet Homer, practiced playing the lyre, and trained their bodies through sports. They believed that a good citizen should develop both the mind and the body.
However, Athenian society was far from perfect. Women had very limited rights. Most women spent their lives inside their homes taking care of children and weaving clothes. They could not vote or participate in political life. Now imagine leaving this city, an intellectual city, and traveling to south to the Peloponnese. After a few days of travel, you finally arrive in Sparta. Immediately, the atmosphere feels completely different.
In Sparta, the streets are quiet and serious. You will not find large groups of people arguing about politics or philosophy. There are no luxurious temples or impressive monuments like in Athens. In fact, Sparta did not even have strong city walls. A Sparta king once famously said that their soldiers were their walls. The entire Sparta society was focused on discipline and military strength. In Sparta, the state controlled almost every part of your life.
If you were born a boy in Sparta, your life will change at the age of 7. At that age, you will leave your family and enter a harsh military training system called the Agoge. Life there was extremely difficult. Boys received only one tunic a year and had to sleep on beds made from reeds that they collected from the river themselves. They were given very little food, sometimes forcing them to steal just to survive. This training was designed to make them thug, disciplined warriors. Spartans were not interested in philosophy, art, or trade. What they wanted were soldiers who could fight without fear.
Sparta was also politically very different from Athens. Instead of democracy, it was ruled by oligarchy, made up of small groups of elders and two kings who kept each other's power in check. However, there was one surprising difference in Sparta's society: the role of women. Unlike Athenian women, Sparta women had more freedom and were encouraged to be physically strong. They trained in athletics such as running and discus throwing because Spartans believed that a strong woman would give birth to strong warriors.
Eventually, these two cities were completely different mentally, began to clash. Athens became very powerful with its navy and began collecting taxes from other Greek cities, acting more and more like an empire. Sparta, which had always been conservative and suspicious of change, started to feel threatened by the growing power of Athens.
This tension finally exploded into the Peloponnesian War. The war lasted almost 30 years and became one of the most important conflicts in ancient Greece. It was like watching a lion fight a shark. Athens dominated the sea with its powerful navy, while Sparta dominated the land with its disciplined army.
In the end, Sparta managed to win the war with help from the Persians, but the victory was extremely costly. Both cities had exhausted their strength and all of Greece was left weakened. Because of this weakness, a powerful king from the north, Philip II of Macedon, eventually conquered the Greek cities and ended their independence. Even so, the legacy of these two cities still lives on today.
If you vote in election, attend a university, or watching other performance, you are experience idea that comes for Athens.
And if you admire courage, discipline, and the strength of a group that works together like one,
then you are seeing the lasting spirit of Sparta. Thank you for listening to our historical broadcast. See you soon.